Governments always tell us the same story. We manage the economy for you, we ensure stability, we secure your future. It sounds nice. Who wouldn't want a safe future, a growing economy, more opportunities? But when you pause and look at history, you start to notice there's a side to these words that rarely gets told. Because the truth is this: states have been using the same financial methods for centuries. The names of the methods change, the language changes, the packaging becomes more modern, but the logic stays the same. The goal is to concentrate power and wealth at the top, while keeping the masses dependent on the system. And this is often done not openly, but in ways that are hard to notice. Let's start with the oldest trick: inflation. When a state's tax revenues are not enough to cover its spending, it has two options. The first is to honestly come out and say, "I will collect more taxes." But that's politically risky, no one likes it. The second option is quieter: devaluing the currency. No one has money taken directly out of their pocket, but everyone becomes poorer. Ancient Rome knew this method very well. In the 3rd century, emperors began reducing the silver content of coins to cover rising military expenses. From the outside, the coin looked the same, but it was hollowed out inside. The state said nothing has changed, but the people felt it in the marketplace. Prices rose, savings melted away, wages lagged behind. No one was told "we taxed you," yet everyone paid the price. What happens today is not very different. Only the mints have been replaced by central banks. By the Middle Ages, the game had changed shape a little. This time, forced loans came into play. Kings would ask wealthy merchants and guilds to lend money. But this request could never really be refused. If you didn't comply, there were penalties, seizures, even prison. Repayment. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. And when it did, it was often in money that had already lost its value. The state kept its wars going and its palaces standing. Merchants were forced to give up their capital. This was coercion dressed up as patriotic duty. And it worked for centuries. In the 17th century, the system became more elegant. The Bank of England was founded. On paper, everything looked orderly. The state borrowed, investors bought bonds, earned interest. But the basic question was, who paid that interest? The answer was simple: the people. Through taxes on salt, beer, cloth, and everyday necessities. The wealthy lent to the state and earned risk-free returns, while ordinary people financed those returns. It was legal, normal, even modern. But once again, wealth flowed in the same direction. Today, the tricks haven't disappeared, they've multiplied. Take budget deficits. States borrow, issue bonds, and say, "We will build infrastructure, we will create jobs." But much of the money goes to the defense industry, big corporations, subsidies, and bailouts. When it's time to repay the debt, austerity is imposed on the public. Taxes go up, social spending is cut, the currency loses value. The debt is presented as if it was taken on for the people, but the burden once again falls on the people. Think about the 2008 crisis. Banks took huge risks, the system collapsed. Then governments stepped in. "If we don't do this, everything will fall apart," they said. Billions, trillions of dollars in bailout packages were announced. Who paid? Taxpayers. Who benefited? The same banks. They came out of the crisis bigger and stronger. Profits were privatized, losses were socialized. And this was presented as necessary. Pension systems tell a similar story. People accept deductions from their wages for years, because they believe they will be secure in the future. But in many countries, that money is not truly saved. It is spent. In its place, only a promise is left. When the population ages and the system strains, reforms arrive. Later retirement, lower pensions, less purchasing power. What matters here is the language that's used. Inflation is called growth. Borrowing is called investment. Cuts are called reform. The reality doesn't change, but the words are softened. In the modern era, things have become even more complex. Concepts like quantitative easing emerged. Central banks created trillions. Markets were rescued. Asset prices went up. But who owned most of those assets? The wealthy. For the average person, life became more expensive, but wealth did not increase. The system survived, but not for everyone. Then there is the issue of regulation. On paper, regulations exist to protect the public. In practice, big corporations shape these rules to their own advantage. Competition becomes harder, smaller players are pushed out. It looks like the public is being protected, but in reality, those inside the system are. War financing is part of the same cycle. Wars are called temporary, but their debts are permanent. Bonds are issued, the burden is pushed into the future. Years later, the public is still paying the bill. And perhaps the strongest trick of all, complexity. The system is made so complex that most people can't follow it. You can't object to what you don't understand. This allows things to move forward quietly. Why does all this matter? Because it's still happening. Inflation still exists. Debt is still growing. Bailouts still protect those at the top. And most people think this is normal. The core issue is this: the system tells you it works for you, but its priority is always itself. Knowing this doesn't solve everything, but it makes you harder to fool. For someone who understands history, money, and language even a little, the picture becomes clearer. So what should be done is simple, but important. Look beyond the headline. Ask who is winning. And don't automatically accept the story you're being told. Because history tells us one thing. The game is the same. Only the names change.